Vintage Story is a survival game. Sure, there's building, exploring, and the occasional jug of wine. But survival is what makes this game different from the other block game. Key to survival in Vintage Story is food. Want to learn how to make some yummy meals in Vintage Story? Let's go! Hi, it's Drax. This is the part at the beginning of the video that everyone skips. For those of you that didn't jump forward, enjoy watching and listening. Might you consider supporting me further by visiting my Ko-fi or clicking on the join button on this video? Alright, that's it. Back to the video. In this video, I will show you the wonderful meal options available in Vintage Story. We will start with the simple and work our way up to culinary perfection. I made a great video about cooking food in Vintage Story, the link's at the top of the screen, so we'll not be covering the basics of cooking in this video. Towards the end of the video, I will also talk briefly about a couple of mods that add a whole nother level to the food and cooking in the game. Honestly, I'm making this video because I need to do better at preparing quality meals in Vintage Story. Let's start with raw foods that can be cooked. Here's the list, and as you can see, there's a couple of standouts. All of these foods can be cooked on a fire pit. Cooking these foods will increase their satiety, which is to say when you eat these meals, you will fill up and stay full longer. Let's quickly chat about a couple of these options. The roots are good in a pinch at the start of the game. If you're starving out and can't find anything else, you can harvest these roots and cook them up. This is not a meal, this is desperation. Bushmeat? Never. Not unless I'm starving. It takes a forest to cook bushmeat, and the benefit? Well, let's just say they're not great. I've never met anyone who's pro bushmeat in Vintage Story. Prove me wrong. Meat in Vintage Story is great. Red meat, in my opinion, being the best. Cooking up some meat will provide an adequate meal and fill your belly. The main drawback here is the short shelf life. If carried in your bag, it'll last just a few days, depending on the weather. Stored someplace cool, a bit longer, but not a long-term solution. Fish are great, but I just learned that they are better eaten raw. So, don't cook them. Just eat them. Yum. Bread is great travel food. It stacks nicely in your bags and has a good shelf life. Baking up bread is a bit more complicated than just building a fire and cooking. You'll need to mill flour, make dough, and bake in an oven. But it's worth it for all of the above mentioned. And also, I just love watching it rise when it's baking. So cool. Those are the simple meals. Now let's talk real meal prep. There are 6 types of meals you can create in Vintage Story. They are as follows: vegetable stew, meat stew, porridge, soup, jam, and fancy scrambled eggs. Each meal can use multiples of ingredients. Meals get their names from what goes in the cookpot. The thing to remember here when mixing and matching ingredients is that if you've done it right, the name of the meal will be at the top of the cookpot. If there's no description, then it's not a valid meal. You'll see the words hearty and hefty in the description. They have no impact and are just there to describe the meal. Also, jam as a meal. I love this game. Let's start with stews. Vegetable stew is, you guessed it, 2 vegetables or a mixture of 2 in a cookpot. You can also add in soybeans or peanuts for some extra flair. When making veggie stew, I typically add what I have on hand, whatever I was able to grow based on my location. However, I do enjoy making stews with a bit of color. This is why I almost always grow cabbage. I love that green color. Here are a couple of other fun combinations I think you should try. Meat stew is similar to veggie. We're just going to start with some meat instead. Meat, poultry, and raw fish can be cooked in the pot. Bushmeat cannot be cooked in the pot. The first 2 spaces in the cookpot need to have meat, and the other 2 can have fruit, meat, or veggies. You can also add 0.2 liters of honey to make it super yummy. Meat stew is, for me, the goal when making meals. It is some of the best food in the base game, it stores well, and it fills you up. Porridge, or as I call it, Drax food. Grain is the primary ingredient in porridge. Just like with the stews, you can add fruit, veggies, and honey, I always have so much grain in storage, mostly flax grain, as this is my main crop in the early game. I live on porridge. It's easy to make and store, and somewhat better than eating raw grain. And I always forget you can add some veggies, mostly because I've not grown any. The word porridge always seems like blah, but it's a legit way to stay alive in Vintage Story. Soup! Yes, there's soup in Vintage Story, but not sandwiches. Yet? Soup requires 1 liter of fresh water and 1 vegetable in the cookpot. You can add 2 extra ingredients, eggs, meat, or veggies. I can count the times I've made soup on one hand. I think my holdup with soup is that I always forget you can add water to cooked meals. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna make up some yummy soup soon. I love jam in real life, and I know it's in Vintage Story, and yet I always forget to make it. I think it might have to do with me turning the berries I have into juice or wine. Jam is a great way to make your rotting berries last longer. Jam's not food you're gonna make at the start of the game. It requires honey. Yep, 0.2 liters of the sticky stuff and 2 berries added to the crockpot produces some lovely jam. Scrambled eggs are yet another meal I forget to make in Vintage Story. The main ingredient is eggs, which means you need to have some chickens, so yet another food you may not produce at the start of the game. Scrambled eggs are produced in a cookpot. Add 2 eggs, an optional cheese or veggies. I just started raising chickens in my latest playthrough. Scrambled eggs are in my future. We talked a bit about bread at the start of the video, and it's a solid option as you enter the mid-game. The other breaded delight in Vintage Story are pies. I've added a link in the description to a video I made on how to make pies in Vintage Story. You should go check it out. Pies are a great source of food in Vintage Story. They fill you up and they travel well. Also, they're just damn fun to make. In the early game, feeding yourself is tough. When you settle down and make your first cookpot, the game seems a lot less punishing. Meat stew and pie makes the Vintage Story world a much better place. Remember that consuming a proper meal in Vintage Story will halt hunger for a short time. Eating proper meals keeps you full longer, so no bushmeat. The food in the base game has many combinations to keep you well fed. There are, however, a couple of great mods that extend the food making in Vintage Story. Culinary Artillery and Expanded Foods are 2 of my favorites. They add way more meal combinations. Roasting and smoking, pasta, sushi, and candy! Along with new foods, you have new items as well, cauldrons, mixing bowls, and my personal favorite, glass bottles. If you are a fan of cooking in Vintage Story, these 2 mods are a must. I'll provide a link to my video covering both, and links to the mods as well. Feeling well fed? So many options to ward off hunger in Vintage Story. I hope this video helped broaden your diet. Have a meal tip for me? Share them in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. The video's over. Now it's time for you to do your part. Follow, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.